What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name is Chris, and I'm your host today, and with me, I've got the Wonder Twins.
Hey!
Who are they?
You are they. You.
I am they.
You is they.
I am Legend.
Not the same.
I am Groot.
Nope.
I'm Kurt Cobain.
Anyways, thanks for tuning into the show today, everybody. Thanks for hitting us up on the internet this week, for those of you that did that. If you haven't, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, also Snapchat. And to everyone that's left a review on the iTunes store, we thank you especially because we love getting that feedback.
We do love it.
All that hot feedback.
Yeah, though it's not hot.
Is it dope feedback?
It's dope.
Dope, yes.
Yeah. Please don't leave review erotica on our iTunes page.
Unless it's My Little Pony. We're kind of questionable. You know, maybe. Is that acceptable? Is that okay? No? Okay, don't do that. The silence is deafening.
The silence is deafening. But anyways, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got a jam-packed pineapple episode today, so we're gonna hit it, bringing you guys the latest and greatest nerdy news right now.
We're gonna have a pineapple situation. What should I do? Pineapple. The word that cannot be spoken. Pineapple.
Just want to say pineapple.
Pineapples are fun. My dad used to
Pineapple.
throw them at me.
Pineapple.
Seriously? Wow.
And our first pineapple is a Twitch streamer is one game away from beating all 714 officially licensed Western released NES games. And he streamed every single one of these on Twitch. Like, that's remarkable. Like, I don't even know if I can recall anybody actually beating all 714 Western
that's insane.
NES games.
I do want to say this. When I first saw this note, I had to read it like 3 or 4 times because my brain saw Western releases and it immediately thought like Western releases, like releases that were Westerns. And I was like, I did not realize there were 714 NES games that were based in the Wild West. That's crazy. And then I read it like a few more times and I was like, oh, like Western, like United States.
Yeah, like I probably should have
Got
clarified that note. So yes, North American release. That would have cleared it all up.
Yeah, I'm dumb, so it's fine.
It's all good. It's all good. But this Twitcher, I guess you could call him a Twitcher, called the Mexican Runner. He began this whole project on his website, nesmania.net, 3 years ago. And he's racked up 3,000 hours of gameplay doing this. So he's played NES games for 3,000 hours to complete this feat.
That doesn't seem nearly long enough.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's... I don't know. Some NES games are really short and kind of devoid of substance. So I guess some ways it's possible, but at the same rate, it's...
Well, I mean, at that rate, if you multiply 714 times about 4.25, that racks up to about 3,000. So if you spend about 4.5 hours per game on
that
it...
makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. We'll go with that at least.
Yeah, I'll go with it. Okay.
And he'll actually conclude this on Sunday, February 26th at noon Eastern Time with Super Mario Bros. 3, probably many people's favorite title on
Best
the
for
NES.
last.
It is, exactly. So tune into Twitch, The Mexican Runner, Sunday, February 26th. Check him out, completing his 714 NES game run, Pineapple.
Kevin Smith is currently working on a TV series that he is writing and directing based on Sam and Twitch, who are the homicide detectives from Spawn. So really interesting. But when it was first announced, Kevin Smith took to Twitter and said, "Get ready for the Jay and Silent Bob of cops," which those characters like don't really lend themselves to that, at all. But okay. Either way, the point here is that Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, he was in an interview recently, and he was talking about what we can he was being asked, like, what can we expect? What do you think that Kevin Smith is going to do? What do you think he's going to do better than, let's say, I don't know, you could do? So Todd McFarlane said it'll be fun to see his take on it, and basically said, I think that he'll be able to thread the fun and morbid crowds together, which is
interesting wording.
Yeah, which is cool. Because, I mean, Kevin Smith definitely has like the more goofy, funny kind of tone in everything he does. But he definitely has the capacity as well to create something a little bit more on the morbid side, like Spawn actually is. But it ends he ends the interview with a teaser, basically saying the next shoe to drop after the Sam and Twitch series will probably be the Spawn movie, which is the main point that I wanted to talk about, that because that's so exciting for me. I love the idea of Todd McFarlane putting out a Spawn movie. It's something that we've known about, like we've known it's been coming for a long time. And he's been teasing it for years, but I'm just kind of hoping that little teaser statement means he's actually close to finishing. So like now that the news is out about Sam and Twitch, we'll actually be able to see Todd McFarlane like drop news that a Spawn movie is coming out for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think that would be really cool. But yeah, fingers crossed for Todd McFarlane behind a Spawn movie. Pineapple. Cut him off.
Yeah. Blizzard, the creator of such games as World of Warcraft, StarCraft II, Diablo 3, and Hearthstone, is finally ending support of Windows XP and Vista this year.
Good grief.
I mean, they held on for a while, and their statement on the matter that, just clear as day says Microsoft ceased mainstream support for these versions of Windows in 2009 and 2012, respectively, which is true. Granted, they were in extended support. XP was there until 2014, and Vista's running out this coming April in the extended support, but they continued. But since a decent portion of our audience was still using them at this time, we continued supporting them.
Good grief.
I mean, that was really nice of them to do, but, it is those releases. XP has shown its age for the past 3 years. It just does not hold up well. And Vista showed its age from the day it was released.
True.
I mean, so, really, Blizzard, it's been one of the last holdouts, really, for this type of thing in terms of major publisher. So, I mean, and even though the exact dates of the end of support for Blizzard games on XP and Vista has not been announced, if you're still using one of those two operating systems, we as, tech guys would definitely recommend upgrading regardless, just to save yourself some issues with security and compatibility and all those wonderful words. So we shall see how Blizzard and its fans handle this semi-not crisis.
Yeah.
And
tens of people will be upset.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
tens
all
of
tens
people.
of them.
All tens of them.
If you're playing World of Warcraft and you're playing it on XP, I don't know who you are.
We have so many problems with you.
Yeah, I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you did, as long as you
love me.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll go.
So you guys pineappled this already. So. Keanu Reeves is obviously in a new movie, John Wick Chapter 2, in theaters now. And he's on his little press junket, and he had an interview with Yahoo Movies. And
wait, are they still around?
Apparently so, with their purple logo. They asked a very interesting question. And what they asked was, what exactly would it take for you to come back for another Matrix movie? And that was super interesting to me. At the end of Matrix Revolutions, we see the Oracle basically drop a giant teaser that one day we'll see Neo again. Or someday, I think, actually is the word. But, I mean, a trilogy, it's such a good way in film to kind of, I mean, it's proven. You end it after 3. Any more than that, and next thing you know, you're Land Before Time.
Exactly.
But Keanu took to this question, and he had a really great thing to say, I think. He said the Wachowskis would have to write and direct. No questions asked. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think I could watch a Matrix movie where they weren't involved. And then and then he said, then we would have to just see what the story is. It'd be weird, but why not? People die, but stories and people in them don't. And I was like, man, that is the most Keanu Reeves thing I've heard. like so like philosophical. And like I can just imagine like his character from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure saying that. It's like, people die, but stories and people in them don't.
What I'm really hoping is that this Matrix movie comes to fruition, that it is an interdimensional adventure where Morpheus meets his counterpart Cowboy Curtis from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
No.
That'll just blow my mind, really.
No.
I mean, Zombie could kind of
no.
No.
You guys are so grounded right now. But anyways, I think it'd be really cool. I think it'd be really interesting to see a Matrix movie come out. Does that necessarily mean I want one? No. But it'd be interesting for sure. I think that with the right script and with the Wachowskis behind it, it could definitely succeed. Especially with Keanu Reeves' popularity in the John Wick franchise right now. People definitely want to see him in action movies. So I don't know. I think it could be cool. I think it could also end horribly. So yeah. ... question mark. I don't really know how to end this one. It's kind of
just
up in
say
the air.
pineapple already.
It's kind of up in the air, but yeah.
You're trying.
Okay, so we don't get very educational around here very often, but
what's an education?
It's this thing that we spent a lot of money on, but yet we're not really seeing the fruits of currently.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, how dare he? But according to an Ars Technica UK article, Disney research, because believe it or not, Disney does legit research about things, apparently, unless this is a different branch of Disney that's not related to the actual Disney. Maybe this is a different set of Disneys. I'm assuming it's the Disney company.
They do research on why 2D animation doesn't work and why they won't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
But,
ouch.
Yeah. But apparently Disney research has achieved room-scale ubiquitous wireless power delivery, i.e. power without wires. They basically set up an aluminum room, a room completely made of aluminum ceiling, aluminum floor, aluminum walls, aluminum everything, and they put a copper pole in the middle of the room and attached it to a device, a generator outside the room, and through that generator, it broadcasts a magnetic field to that pole. It basically encapsulates the room in a magnetic field, and they were able to power 10 devices in this room: a smartphone, a lamp, a fan, an RC car, and even more stuff with no wires whatsoever, just from this magnetic field they created in this room. So, currently, wireless charging technology is just, you have to have it very close to a charging pad. But this could literally be the future of power without the need for wires. The efficiency is pretty good. It's between 40 and 95%, depending on where the receiver's positioned. And you can put some surprising amount of power, about 1900 watts in, before it becomes too dangerous for you.
I mean, basically, it would take one hair dryer or a microwave and a half before things got dangerous.
So yeah, I guess so. So I mean, low voltage stuff, they're charging just fine on it. So of course, currently it's very limited in the sense of, if you don't mind, living in a fully aluminum room to get your stuff charged and powered, that's the one limit. But it's really interesting because the one wire we're still attached to in our wireless society is the power wire. So if there's a way for them to break free of the power wire, there's a lot of possibilities here, especially and also in electronics and media and everything. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild. It is totes cray cray.
Totes cray
It's
cray.
Pineapple.
So lately, in all things pop culture, we've kind of seen this trend coming about, where toys are giving away everything in movies. So we had it with, most recently that I can think of, with Kurt Russell as Ego the Living Planet in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Gave away what we can expect him, his character to look like, which up to this point we hadn't seen anything other than a few pieces of costume. So that being said, the New York Toy Fair happened recently. So we got a really good look at Shocker from Spider-Man Homecoming, which I am astounded to say looks really close to the comics. Crazy close. He has the yellow padded suit. He's got the reddish torso situation happening. I mean, in the movie it looks to be more like a jacket than a weird leotard thing. But he's got power, these giant power gauntlets, which I'm not super sure how I feel about. And then he has the over the top of the head sunglass goggle things that look really lame, that were really popular in the early 2000s for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I mean, it was just promo art for the upcoming toy line for Spider-Man Homecoming, and boom, there's a character that we haven't seen yet, hasn't been in any of the has been in, but we haven't gotten a good look at him in any of the trailers to date. And then there were also a couple really cool figurines for Spider-Man. One of them was Spider-Man with two different head options. One that was the Spider-Man in the mask, and then the other was the unmasked. So it was Tom Holland's face, and it actually looked a lot like Tom Holland, which was super cool.
I was really hoping they would have the Tobey Maguire head and the Andrew Garfield head. I mean, why not?
Spider-Man of old.
Yes, Spider-Man that people were very apathetic towards.
Legacy heads.
Yes. By Mattel.
Right. Oh my gosh. But yeah, he looks really cool. I'm really excited about Shocker being in in Spider-Man Homecoming, as well as Vulture. It's going to be a really interesting movie. I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table. As we all know, this is a matchup, I guess, a handshake deal for Marvel Studios to produce the Spider-Man Homecoming movie with Sony, who actually owns the rights, the film rights to Spider-Man. So Sony's done a not super great job in the past. So hopefully this movie will be worthwhile? Question mark.
Hopefully. It looks very promising. It seems to have way more Marvel influence and way less Sony influence. So if you can avoid the Sony influence, you're doing pretty okay.
Exactly. But Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out on July 7th, and we will be doing a roundtable review, so make sure you guys tune in, because it's going to be a grand old time. And, yeah, pineapple.
According to comicbook.com, Dark Horse Comics, who's ever heard of them?
I mean, Dark
Horse.
A lot of people.
I mean, those people. What?
They did Hellboy. most notably Hellboy.
You act as though they're famous, Chris. Gosh.
Yeah, they're nobody. You're right.
Dark Horse Comics has entered into a licensing deal with Breastbane's. Well, probably just.
Whoa.
No,
Whoa.
I'm sorry. No, Best Brains Productions.
There you go.
Which Best Brains Productions is most well known for Mystery Science Theater 3000. Dark Horse Comics has entered into an agreement with this company that will include merchandise and tie-in materials for the Netflix revival of MST3K, including a comic book set set in the world of the show. It's really interesting that this would even come into fruition. And the VP of Publishing with Dark Horse said that he first found out about the show in 1992 and immediately fell in love with both the concept and the characters. And he started inquiring about this license in 1993.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Wow. And finally, 24 years later, they have Comic Sign. So it's really astounding. And of course, all of this, as we talked about, is tied in with the Netflix revival happening, of the show, hopefully coming out later this year. We'll see. And there's no indication of how the comic book will work, whether it'll be just a straight adaptation of how the episodes were set up, robots and a human in a theater making fun of movies,
right,
or if it's going to be them actually taking old, maybe public domain comics and riffing on them, which would be pretty neat to do.
Oh, for sure.
I kind of lean towards. I think I would like more seeing public domain comics riffed than trying to turn it into a plot around the show, because
like an extended universe thing, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like the host segments were so funny in it, but I mean, the show was never about having like a cohesive plot per se. So to try to make an entire comic about like this strong plot narrative that was never there in the original because they were just having fun with it, I think riffing comics would be a really neat thing to see, but we'll see what happens. So we'll hope for the best on it, and we'll probably be keeping you guys posted on it. Probably. If it happens in Pineapple, it happens in the world. I don't know where I was going with that, but if it happens with Pineapple, it happens in the world. And that's why I'm going to say Pineapple.
So, James McAvoy, who has crept into our hearts as Mr. Tumnus.
Baldy.
I mean, Professor X. What? He teased working on a film over the summer. He posted a photo to Instagram where he was having dinner with Simon Kinberg and Sir Patrick Stewart. And in his comment on his photo, he said, "I can't wait for the summer." Basically, after gushing about how much he loves working with Simon Kinberg, obviously teasing something going on this summer.
I mean, listen, I think you're overblowing this. I think they're just going to the beach. Honestly, I mean,
maybe it very well could be it.
I mean, they just want to go to the beach together. That's all. It's certainly not any type of film project for the summer.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. But we do know about two projects that are in the works in the X-Men franchise. The first one being X-Men Supernova, which is the next installment in the primary X-Men storyline, which we don't really have a ton of details about, but it has been confirmed that it's going to take place in the 90s, and it's going to include a lot of different elements from the Dark Phoenix comic book storyline, which if you haven't read and you're into X-Men, you're doing X-Men wrong. Dark Phoenix for me at least is probably in the top 5 X-Men storylines like of all time, which is saying a lot.
And among the worst X-Men movies.
Yeah, The Last Stand never existed as far as I'm concerned.
No, it did not. It did.
Fortunately.
Yeah. They pretty much actually undid The Last Stand during the plot unfolding in Days of Future Past, which was like one of the only redeeming qualities of that movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely.
But on top of that, just recently, Sophie Turner, who plays Jean Grey in the X-Men movies, confirmed that she will be reprising her role in X-Men Supernova as Jean Grey, so that's great. And she's actually the only one that has officially confirmed that she'll be returning for the movie so far. So possibly just a timing thing, possibly like really bad news. We'll see. But on top of that, we also have the possibility of New Mutants being the film that James McAvoy is working on over the summer. New Mutants is kind of the I don't want to say B team, but but that's kind of what they are. They're the younger kids, the younger students at Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. The team itself consists of Magic, who is Ileana Rasputin, which is the younger sister of Colossus. Kitty Pryde, who is Shadowcat, who we've seen plenty of times up to now. Wolfsbane, Moonstar, and Cannonball, all of which have names that pretty much explain what they do.
Like all good mutants.
Right. So that one's going to be really interesting. We got a little like storyboard animation, like really choppy short from like a concept for a scene. It was really neat. But it's been stated that movie is going to be kind of like a Stephen King, John Hughes style horror film, which is bold, I think.
Yeah, to say the least.
I don't think Fox has been doing a good enough job to start like taking those kinds of leaps and bounds. But at the same time, like they've got to do something to switch it up. And from what we're seeing so far with Logan, they're doing a great job of switching it up. It's still in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes, so hopefully that movie doesn't absolutely suck like all of the other Wolverine movies.
Hopefully not.
Well, it's only because the ghost of Roger Ebert hasn't watched it yet, probably. It'll drop down to the 70s once he watches it.
Right. But it's really interesting either way that James McAvoy is teasing production on an X-Men movie. I mean, we just saw X-Men Apocalypse this past summer, so having another one that's going to be in production this summer means that we can probably expect a release early 2018, like spring or maybe even like a early summer release. So that's really cool. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers for New Mutants just because I would love to see Magic, aka Ileana Rasputin, in an X-Men movie because I think that she is like one of the coolest characters in X-Men. But we'll see how it goes. Either way,
still no Gambit movie for all of you people out there hoping for it.
Yeah, still stuck in trying to sign contracts.
Oh my gosh.
That makes no sense.
We're fighting for you, Gambit. One day it'll be your turn.
Oh no, maybe
one
Ben
day.
Affleck will get to play you.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll take like 8 years, and when it finally does come out, it's amazing.
Hopefully so.
Deadpool.
We can hope. Yes.
But yeah, so really cool that James McAvoy is working on something this summer. Really interested to see what that is. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, with the summer being only a few short months away. So, Pineapple.
So, Amazon has dropped their free shipping back down to $35 minimum. For all of you out there that love just wonderful nerdy goodness and ordering online, this is probably a surprise to you because Amazon just a year ago raised their free shipping to $49 to actually get something shipped to you for free. So the fact that Amazon's backtracking on this is just remarkable, really. It's just outstanding. So we see this on the heels, though, of competition from Walmart, competition from Best Buy. Walmart already brought in the game of 2-day free shipping for $35, which is astounding. And then Best Buy on the heels also has had their own $35 2-day shipping program. So it's been really amazing to see how that's worked out, to see Amazon actually coming back to the shipping game. Of course, the one thing we're not seeing with Amazon is it's still their free shipping policy, which is on average 5 to 8 business days to receive something for free. So, Walmart still seems to have the upper hand in this 2-day shipping game, but it's still really, really exciting to see Amazon coming back to maybe more reasonable prices for free shipping on stuff. But most of you out there probably already have Prime, so this is probably not a non-issue for you.
Well, I mean, somebody said that 40% of American households have Prime.
I would not doubt it.
I mean, I can't comprehend that figure because I don't have Prime, but that's
we also don't have a
figure.
smartphone, Robert. So I mean,
right?
See.
I mean, yeah. So we'll see how this goes for Amazon. We'll see. They're making tons of money off Prime still, but we'll see if this will increase their margins even further against their competition. So
yeah, if you've been away from Amazon because their shipping has gotten too high for you, well, you might have a reason to shop with them again.
Yay!
So yeah, yay! Unless you go to B&H's website and get the exact same thing for expedited shipping. Pineapple.
So we all know that Marvel has finally landed the Inhumans series. It's gonna start up in the fall on ABC. Really excited about it. A lot of people are really excited about it. I am definitely one of those people. We just got confirmation on the casting of Maximus the Mad or Maximus the Magnificent, depending on which comic you're reading. But the guy that played Ramsay Bolton, the crazy, legit insane character from Game of Thrones, his name is E.139, I'm guessing. Sorry, Dane, because I totally screwed that up, I'm sure. But he is going to be in it. The guy that played Ramsay from Game of Thrones. Just Google it. You'll see his face. Anyways, he's going to be in it. I think this is great. Maximus is he's the brother of Black Bolt, who's the king of the Inhumans. And Black Bolt went into exile once upon a time. And as a result of that, Maximus took over the throne of the Inhumans. And he's basically, and I don't say this jokingly, he's basically the Hitler of the Inhumans. He thought that Inhumans were the more powerful race, and that basically he wanted to wipe out mankind so humans could retake the planet. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, say the least.
But yeah, it sounds like a particular German we all know. But it's really interesting because even for those of you that have seen Game of Thrones, I don't have to explain to you, but for those of you that have not, he's a very charming character, but he is very crazy, like very like roguish and villainous. So it's really cool. He has a really great talent for being that character that kind of toes the line there. So it's really interesting to see him cast in that role. But it's also just really exciting because we know that Maximus is going to be involved in this Inhuman storyline in the upcoming series. The coolest thing I think about this series is that it's going to be the first 2 episodes are going to be released in IMAX theater Labor Day weekend. So Tuesday, September 26th is when the series actually starts to run on ABC. But the first 2 episodes will be in IMAX theaters on Labor Day weekend. So it'll come out to be about an hour and a half-ish, I'm guessing. With like probably a little bit more, maybe like an hour 45, 2 hours. So like a movie length, which is really neat. And then you go home and you follow the story, continue to follow the story on Tuesday nights from September 26th to November 14th.
What is really interesting about this is this almost seems to indicate they're putting the nail in the coffin for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't say that for certain, but Tuesday nights is like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s like night. And it's pretty challenging unless they're trying to build some sort of Marvel block out of Tuesday nights. It'll be interesting to see if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually gets re-upped, or if Inhumans is coming in to take over Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s time slot. And also it's interesting to see how ABC is trying to not repeat the mistake they made with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which has had an extremely slow start.
Right.
Most people's complaint with this series is the first half of the first season was extremely slow, but it picked up in the last half of the first season. So it seems like ABC is going all out to be sure that this show is a monster hit from the get-go, that there's energy there, that there's people interested, and to hook them in. So it'll be interesting to see if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Inhumans can coexist, or if this is a signaling of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe getting axed. It'll be interesting to follow this saga and see what happens.
Yeah, well, I think you got to take into consideration this is an 8 episode season.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be for the Inhumans from September 26th to November 14th. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, you have to also take into consideration seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They do the mid-season break. So I think they do 12 and 12. Mm-hmm. I'm looking in my iTunes right now to see what exactly it is. They do 11 and 11. So the first, and it looks like historically the first half of the season is starting around the same weekend. So it might mean that they're getting axed. It might mean that after this season concludes, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of bumps into separate shows. I mean, they have
or like a mid-season replacement or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, even this season on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're 14 episodes in, 15 episodes in.
Yeah.
And they've followed multiple storylines. They had Ghost Rider come in for a handful of episodes. They have a new one running right now that I can't remember what it's called. It's like LMD.
Yeah, that's right.
So it might be something that they're like starting to break up the seasons, and then maybe after this season they start to break it into separate shows. Who knows? But I think it's really cool that the Inhuman show is coming out, and I think it's really great that Ramsey Bolton is going to be playing Maximus the Mad. I'm really excited to see how this show turns out, and hopefully, it's awesome. Pineapple. But that is it for the show. That is all the nerdy news we have for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, check out Patreon. It's like Kickstarter, but monthly, and you can find that at betweenthecons.com/Patreon. Satchel, which is a podcast player that you can tip and tweet while listening. And then, of course, our Amazon page, which you can find at the bottom of our website. And you just use our search, our little search bar, and it pops you over into Amazon. And we get a little kickback from what you spend on that site, especially Go Now, because your free shipping minimum is lower.
Exactly.
And of course, check out our website, betweenthecons.com, where you can stream our episodes online. Check out all of our social media sites. And if you like our theme music, make sure you look up Afixa on Bandcamp, download his sweet tunes. And then, finally, make sure you guys tune in on Monday, because we've got a very special surprise for you. We've got an all-new segment that we're going to be starting up called Meet the Geek. And we're going to be interviewing geeks, special geeks, from all across our fandoms. So you guys don't want to miss it. So make sure you do tune in on Monday to see what we've got in store for you then. But,
oh, yes.
But thanks again for tuning in. You guys have a great weekend. And we will talk to you on Monday.
Bye. God bless. Just squeak the chair.